Great. I think one of the things that I would wish to learn also for myself is to be an active listener. And it's not easy. It's not an easy thing that we are born with. A lot of times, like we see in the scriptures in James 1:19 that we are using, is that for one to be told be quick to listen, it shows that we are never quick to listen. A lot of times we are quick to speak. We really want to share what we're feeling, and we want people to hear us. But also, as you want people to hear you, you've got to be a good listener. One of the tips is you've got to learn to face the person speaking and to establish an eye contact. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes, I don't know whether you've experienced this. A lot of times, I think with teens as they grow, maybe they're going through a lot of emotions. That when you speak to them, maybe they're looking down, or they are drawing on the floor, or they are on their phone. So one of the active ways of listening is actually being able to face the speaker and establish an eye contact. It helps. It helps to, first of all, it helps the other person know that you're actually interested in what they're saying. And the other thing, it also helps you to not get distracted. So eye contact is an important part of face-to-face conversation. Sometimes when you're hurt by someone and they're trying to express themselves, sometimes you don't even want to look at them. So that might tell you you're not actually interested in what they're saying. So you might actually decide to have a conversation at another time where you can actually have to have a conversation and listen to what they're saying. Sometimes I think because of the invent of technology, people can speak too much. But when you meet them person to person, they're not able to express themselves. I think it's something that we have to learn, that it's difficult to actually text someone you're feeling. Sometimes it's actually good to sit with them and have a face-to-face contact. So that almost goes without saying that our sessions just encourage us to have our videos on, unless you really have any problem. Like last time, Silence was having a problem with his internet. It was a bit tricky. The other thing I think we have to learn, I think we've done this in our premarital classes where you're taught how to listen to the nonverbal, what the person is not saying. Sometimes I can say I'm happy, but my face is saying something different. Good. Or saying that, hey, I feel that I'm excited about this, but they're not excited by how they express, how they are. So sometimes we have to pay attention to the nonverbals. Sometimes the body language speaks a lot. Sometimes you can have maybe someone folding their hands and and then their deep thoughts. Most likely they might not be listening. They could be in somewhere else. And so it's good to catch ourselves. So the other thing about listening is that try not to interrupt. And if you have to, that's what we're doing with the attunement to our feelings. If you have to, maybe for clarification. But sometimes you can have a conversation and maybe you're expressing yourself, but someone is bringing a new idea. You're already interrupting. So someone feels you're actually not listening. So trying not to interrupt is very key. And a lot of times, I think we have that a lot as disciples. I see that a lot. Even after service, we are hugging each other, everyone saying hi, and maybe someone actually wants to tell you something, but you're actually not listening. Sometimes it's good to pick that and say, "But yeah, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me focus on what you're saying." Sometimes it's important. Sometimes they're just saying hi. And sometimes we can say hi to each other, but we are not actually there. Have you ever been in that situation? I've been there where I've hugged someone twice. And the first time I was actually, my mind was not there, but I hugged them. But I was actually not there totally. I didn't, maybe I didn't feel their presence. I was talking to someone else. Then I end up not paying attention. So watch out for interruption. Um, so it's being interrupted is frustrating for the other person, you know, and sometimes it's something that we have to practice. It's very sometimes frustrating. You can imagine you're deep in thought, trying to express yourself, and whoop, someone says, I didn't think that was right. But if not, they've not listened, you know. So listening without judging is a key thing that maybe we can learn as well. It's something that is not so easy. Sometimes we feel like we actually know why the person is going through what they're going through, and we have answers to what they're going through. So we are already judging and jumping into conclusions even before they express themselves. And it's something that we have to really, especially if we are into each other's lives a lot, and which I hope we are and we should be as disciples. But a lot of times, because we're in each other's lives, we can know a lot about one another. That when someone is expressing themselves, you're already thinking about what they did or what they said or what they're going through. Then you actually end up not paying attention to what they're telling you at that time. And it's something that we have got to learn. You have to listen for their emotions. Don't try to fix it. I think that's what we get a lot. I think as men from our wives, you know, because trying to express herself, and I'm like, how do I fix it? I'm just thinking about the solution rather than actually hearing what she's saying. So what someone can say might not have any logical. It might be totally illogical, or rather, it might not be a logical conversation you're having. It's more listening to the emotions. So you have to listen to what is in the heart, you know, and that's it's almost like you remember Jesus and Jairus's, or rather, even the lady who bled for so long, 12 years, and in the midst of the crowd, Jesus was able to stop and ask, "Who touched me?" And the disciples are like, "What do you mean?" But Jesus actually paid attention to this person and looked at her and told her, "You've been your sickness has been lifted from you." You can imagine how she felt. She felt, "Wow." Even looking at Jesus with Zacchaeus, the same thing. A crowd, who would care about someone climbing over a tree? But Jesus actually cared enough, went to the person and had a conversation with him and said, "I'm going to be at your home today." You can imagine how Zacchaeus felt. So don't start planning what to say. Sometimes it's easy to do that. Sometimes when I'm talking and you're like, by the way, I need to, what am I going to share next? So you start planning about what I'm going to share, what you're going to share, rather than just being there and just listening. Okay, sometimes you have to use gestures to show that you're listening. Sometimes nodding your head can mean that you're listening. Or sometimes you can just, okay, okay, I'm listening. Okay, such things. It doesn't come naturally. It's something that we have to train ourselves. Listen. Of course, don't impose your opinions and solutions. I've talked about that as well. Try not to do that. Sometimes people already know what they need to do. They just want someone to listen to them. And and sometimes you just listen and you just ask, what that make you feel? And that's the exercise we're going through for the next 8 weeks or so. We've already done one, so the next 7 weeks or so. Just being present and being able to listen. Not thinking about the solution, because a lot of times that's why we ask, what do you need? Because a lot of times people know already what they need. Stay focused, avoid being distracted. Definitely, if you need to switch off your phone, it's very important. You can imagine you're talking, you're expressing yourself, then someone picks the phone and says, hello, acha nikupigie. Then you go back. Then you're talking, nimesema nitakupigia. So everyone is looking at you and then, okay, did you actually need to be in this meeting? You can actually just say, guys, I'm so sorry, I don't have time. I will be in another. I will join next time. So staying focused. Try to shut down all distractions, and just try to focus. Especially that happens a lot with Zoom, and I think nowadays we're getting better to do that. A lot of times, sometimes even when you're sharing the message or teaching a class, sometimes I'm not even sure whether the people are listening, because sometimes when the videos are off, someone could be even not there kabisa. So you just pray that, hey man, God, I hope that someone is listening out there. So ask curious questions, and that's what we're learning, asking, clarifying, okay, what did you mean by this? You say that you felt that you were unappreciated. Please clarify that. I would want to understand that more. Curious questions. Clarifying, you're not bringing out another subject, but you are trying to clarify what the person is sharing or what you had. Attuning to what the person is saying, trying to empathize with the situation. Maybe just say, hey, I'm so sorry that you feel that way, or I'm so sorry that this happened to you. How does it make you feel? How does it make you feel about this and this and this? Paraphrasing what the person said. When you said you felt really appreciated, let me get that right. You mean that you felt happy? You mean that you felt that at least someone understood where you're coming from? So you're trying to attune to what the person is saying. So remember, it takes practice, and practice makes perfect. So it's important for us to practice this more and get to know this better. For me, it's not an easy thing. I'm learning. Normally, I'm more a fixer. I want to just get things done. I get to a point a lot of times where I'm frustrated when things are not working, and I'm looking out for solutions. A lot of times, I actually don't pay attention. So it's something that I'm teaching myself to actually pay attention and listen, because we are living in the first world, sort of speaking. We're in the third world, but we're living in the first world where people do not have actually time to listen. One of the things that I get a lot, even when we get, especially guys who get from other counties into Nairobi, they feel Nairobi is too fast. Nairobi is too fast, and I cannot make it here, so they just go back because no one has time for them. And they feel really upset. I've gotten that a lot. People say, man, Simon, I don't know how you guys survive in Nairobi. You guys don't even have a life. You think you have a life, but you don't have a life. You guys are pretenders. That's what they feel. But so it's something for someone to observe that we are too busy for our lives. So I'll stop the recording there.